Jacksonville Jaguars fans, welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan Lugo. Thanks so much for being here. Monday, December 15th, Victory Monday in Duval. Fired up to keep talking about this football game. My top takeaways from the game and kind of from the weekend in the NFL as well, because there's obviously some important other results around the league to look at too. So excited to get into it. Really appreciate y'all being here. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. We also have our Victory Monday sale, and the Jags, they really did it for y'all this week. 48% off to celebrate that victory. Everything on genjag.com with code Duval. That's 3 U's, DUUUVAL. 48% off to celebrate that dub. Unbelievable stuff there. Jaguars, good luck stopping that offense. And I know they're playing a pretty damn good defense next week, but good luck stopping the Jaguars offense. It's so explosive. It's so multiple. They can win on the outside. They can win running the ball. They can win intermediate. They can win deep down the middle. I mean, they can win in the short passing game. Trevor Lawrence is on an absolute heater right now. It's remarkable to see exactly what's going on with this team. I mean, Trevor Lawrence now has 29 touchdowns. 29 touchdowns on the year. On pace to set a new career mark. He's playing as well as anyone's ever seen him play. And yes, that was against the Jets. We're aware of that, but he's been playing good for the last, he's been, in my opinion, there was some ups and downs early on. There was too much inconsistency, but there was also a lot of inconsistency around him. Things are settling down. It's not just Trevor, but he has stepped up in a big way, making all sorts of absurd plays and really feeling confident. But, the addition of Jacoby, the return of Brenton Strange, the settling down, over the last month or so of the left tackle and the right guard position, things are going well on that offense. And Liam Cohen is absolutely dialed. That whole staff on offense is doing a great job. Trevor Lawrence, just unbelievable. It's really been pretty cool to see these Jaguars be able to handle the business the way they have on the offensive side of the ball after how rocky it was. And it was a little disappointing because you're like, you have this brilliant head coach, offensive mind. You thought Brian Thomas Jr. was a star, Travis Hunter early on, and all these guys, and it's just not quite coming together consistently, but they have hit their stride, and they're hitting their stride at a really good time. A big part of that, we mentioned left tackle a little bit, finding more consistency at that spot. Cole Van Lannon, I really think that, and we've talked about him, he needs to be the Jaguar starter moving forward. Walker Little was technically questionable for the Jaguars heading into this game, coming off the concussion protocol, was inactive. I don't know that he would have been active had he been good to go. I think Cole Van Lannon is your starting left tackle right now. I think he's got to be. I think that, there's a lot of areas of the Jets roster that are lacking. Edge is not really one of them. They've got good edge players. I mean, good pass rushers. Will McDonald is a really good player. They've got Jermaine Johnson, who's a quality player as well. They've got Clemens, and he did a really good job against that front. No, it's not the best front you're ever going to play. You're going to have a bigger test against the Broncos this coming week, and we talk about that all the time, right? But the offense just seems to have a lot of the answers right now that you're looking for. And no, it wasn't perfect, and yes, there are, you can point to Brian Thomas Jr. having some inconsistencies at the catch point in this game, which has been an issue throughout the year. But, he had some big moments too. He had the really good moments, some missed opportunities too. But, he's a little bit of an up and down, a little bit of a roller coaster ride right now. Outside of that, I don't know what the pre-snap penalties have gotten greatly reduced. It's looking really good on offense for the Jaguars. Defense is still doing the job too. I know they gave up 20 points to the Jets, a team that had not been really scoring 20 points per game over the last month or so. But a lot of that is just the fact that, you are steamrolling this team. Your defense is on the field a lot because your offense is scoring so much and so quickly at times. So, And some of that is, starters going out, different things, but they did what they needed to do in this game in terms of they shut down Breece Hall. When Breece Hall was on the field and getting the ball, they did not let him get going. Isaiah Davis, yeah, but, that's backup. Some of that's a little bit of mop-up duty, things like that. It wasn't a perfect run defense day, but they shut down the main threat of Breece Hall. You also had, Brady Cook had some nice rushes as well. Picked up almost 40 yards on the ground himself. Without that, against running backs, they did not give up 100 yards today. They forced interceptions, which again, Brady Cook, he's going to give you some of those. But you love to see the way they were getting some of those picks. Like the Buster Brown pick was crazy. The Antonio Johnson pick, just going up and over the receiver was crazy. My biggest thing, though, right now that I'm super excited about with these guys is, Camp, his post-snap coverage rotations, they can be diabolical. And then all the different fronts that he presents as well can be, he is a difficult defensive coordinator to find sustained success against, for sure. But all the different guys right now that can generate pressure, you didn't have that. It felt like Josh Hines-Allen for a while this season was the only guy that could get any consistent pressure. Part of that was Trayvon Walker not being healthy, all that stuff. But you have, obviously, Josh Hines-Allen wreaking havoc. You have Eric Armstead, who's doing a good job on the interior. You have now BJ Green and Danny Strigo, and we're going to have to see how Danny's doing this week because he had an ankle injury. But BJ Green stepping up and making an impact as a pressure guy. And then some of your other ancillary pieces doing a really good job in that regard as well. And obviously your off-ball linebackers and Devin Lloyd and Dennis Gardeck, they can really get after it too. So there's just a lot of ways they can generate pressure now. It's not just on Josh Hines-Allen. And how did that get unlocked? Again, Trayvon getting healthy, Eric Armstead stepping up his game from last year in a big way and continuing to improve, and then Strigo and Green getting those opportunities. That's really what you're seeing, in my opinion. So pretty good stuff there. Absolutely love it. Now, got to tell you all about Underdog Fantasy, the best place to make picks and win money all season long, and it's winding down here. But playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite player will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. You can now make team picks on Underdog too. Very fun stuff. Check it out, Underdog. Download the app today. Sign up with promo code DuvalDaily to score $100 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code DuvalDaily. Underdog. Make picks. Win money. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy. So, what I did this week, obviously, Jaguars, right? Over Jets. That was a pretty easy call for me. Jaguars, Broncos, that's going to be a more difficult call. It absolutely is. And Jaguars, Broncos is going to be must-see TV. I know there's good games towards the end of the year, but that is the number 1 seed in the AFC at home against the number 3 seed. Now, the Jaguars cannot jump the Broncos because the Broncos beat the Packers, right? Broncos handled their business against the Packers, so the Jags cannot jump the Broncos this week. They could still technically catch them. The Broncos, though, they'll have to beat the Broncos for sure in order for that to happen. The Broncos are 12-2. The Jaguars are 10-4. The Broncos, after the Jags face the Chiefs on primetime and then the Chargers back home in Denver. So, the Chargers could technically get it done. And so if the Jaguars and the Chargers both beat the Broncos, the Jaguars could be in front of the Broncos at the end of the year. I don't really expect that to happen at this point. And, I don't mention the Chiefs now because they just look like, unfortunately for Patrick Mahomes, who I know a lot of people hate on Patrick Mahomes, but he's an icon in the NFL, a great ambassador of the sport, an unbelievable player to watch. And I hate that he tore his ACL. I absolutely hate that personally. But that's going to make it difficult for the Chiefs to be able to compete with the Broncos on Christmas night. So it's a tough road to try to get ahead of the Broncos. It's not impossible, but it obviously starts with beating the Broncos this week in Denver. That's the toughest game yet, in my opinion, of the season for the Jaguars. And as much as you're thinking about, okay, how can we possibly get a 1 or a 2 seed and have home field advantage throughout the first 2 rounds of the playoffs at minimum, the division is not wrapped up. And so really the Jaguars, they just have to be focused on one game at a time, and that's what they've been preaching all year long. It's been working, but the division is not wrapped up. The Texans beat the brakes off the Cardinals, and they're going to be a team. The Jags don't get to play them again, obviously, at least not in the regular season, but they're a team where they do not have a very difficult schedule coming up. The Texans don't. They're 9-5. They're a game back of the Jaguars. You do not want to get in a position where you have to get into one of these tiebreakers that goes down to like strength of victory or strength of schedule, because the Jags and the Titans, they have a lot of, they have to go down the list of the tiebreakers as of right now. But the Texans finished the season against the Raiders, at the Chargers, which that could be a tough game, and then versus the Colts. And so you got to stay on your P's and Q's you got to win these games. You got to beat the Broncos. And I'm not saying the Jaguars can't like win a road playoff game or a couple road playoff games, but that's not the path you want to take. You've been a lot better at home than you have been on the road. And when you talk about the Jaguars road ahead outside of Denver, I don't think the Colts are going to lie down in week 17 either. I mean, the way that they were playing with Phillip Rivers was getting the ball out quickly. And getting the ball out quickly has kind of been one of the ways to have some success against this Jaguars Anthony Campanile defense. The other thing, coverage-wise, a lot of what Anthony Campanile does is pretty similar to Jeff Hafley. And Denver Broncos, they just kind of went off against Jeff Hafley and the Packers defense. So this is tough. This is tough stuff. And the Jaguars, they're probably going to make the playoffs, right? They already have 10 wins. But when it comes to winning the division, trying to get a top 2 seed, this is not written in stone. I mean, things can change quickly. If the Jaguars lose this game and the Texans go beat things can change quickly still. The Jaguars absolutely need to go to Denver and win if they want to win their division, if they want to have home field. And I think they should. They should want that. And I know they do. That's been their internal goal for a long time. James Gladstone was talking about winning the division when it didn't even really seem very likely. Right? Now the Jaguars are favored to win the division. They're like 98, 99% chance to make the playoffs. All that good stuff. You look at the Patriots too. They're currently the 2 seed. They just lost to the Bills yesterday. So they have 3 losses. The Jaguars don't play them. But if the Jaguars beat the Broncos, even if they don't end up passing the Broncos because the Broncos go and take care of business the last 2 weeks of the season, the Jaguars could still jump the Patriots to get to a top 2 seed. The Patriots lost to the Bills yesterday. They still have the Ravens, Jets, and Dolphins. If the Jaguars and Patriots finish with the same record, like let's say the Patriots lose to the Ravens or the Dolphins, they're not going to lose to the Jets, but let's say they lose to the Ravens or the Dolphins. If the Jags and Patriots finish with that same record with 4 losses, whatever it may be, the Jaguars currently have the advantage because of conference record and that tiebreaker. So right now, if the Jags and Patriots had the same record, the Jags would jump the Patriots and be ahead of them because of that conference record tiebreaker. The Jaguars have a much better conference record right now than the Patriots. So Jags, if you beat the Broncos, Colts, and Titans, and Patriots lose a game, that tiebreaker is yours. And again, that puts you having home field wild card. You win the wild card, you have home field divisional. And as the 2 seed, if the 1 seed doesn't make it to the conference title, which they only have to win 1 game to get there, right? But if the 1 seed doesn't get to the conference title, you're hosting the AFC Championship game if you make it there. So a lot is still in front of them, but you got to go through a team right now in Denver that I know that there's like you can criticize different elements of that team, but the bottom line is, I mean, they've won 11 games in a row. They're 12-2. They have won 11 games in a row. They beat the Bengals, the Eagles, the Jets. They barely beat the Jets. I mean, there's some wins here that are not pretty. I mean, you beat the Jets by 2 points. You beat the Giants by 1 point. Beat the brakes off the Cowboys. Barely beat the Texans. Barely beat the Raiders. Beat the Chiefs. Barely beat the Commanders. I mean, it's like they've played down to their opponents. But both of these teams are going to be jacked for this game. They've played the Raiders twice already. They won those games by a combined 10 points total. Pretty crazy. But then they go beat the Packers. So like when they've played teams that are really good, which the Chiefs were very good at the time they beat them, the Packers very good at the time they beat them, the Cowboys were trying to get hot, the Texans were starting to get hot, the Eagles obviously a very good team. Bottom line is winning 11 games in a row in the NFL. It's pretty insane. So Jags have their work cut out for them. That's top takeaways from the week that was. Jaguars resounding victory 48-20. It's great. It's fun. But ultimately, they still haven't guaranteed themselves anything. They got to still continue to get this job done. Really appreciate y'all being here. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Y'all have a good one.